Okay, I got a request yesterday from Louis, who's sharing the screen here with me. He's in San Diego, and he asked me some questions for his university project that he's working on. He wanted to understand some things about stuff. And I'm going to let him ask those questions of me now. And I thought, since I'm going to answer it and spend that time with them, that other people may have the same questions, and I might as well record it because I'm lazy and I don't have to answer it again. So, Louis, kind of give us a background who you are and what's the question you had and why you had that question.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you joining me today. Um, and I am a college student at Cal State San Marcos University, and I'm writing a paper on attachment theory, which I'm not sure how familiar you are with attachment theory, but it's John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth a theory, and it's basically the belief that a strong emotional bond needs to be formed with a primary caregiver at a very young age in order to develop healthy behavior habits for healthy psychology uh, and a, so a disorganized attachment would um, basically cause future problems. Uh, and I noted that in your childhood, didn't really, to my understanding
I don't
from,
fit the mold of what they're talking about.
right, yeah. Basically. So I just thought maybe you could give a little insight as to your life and how it might differ from this theory, this attachment theory, because I know that at a young age, um, you said your dad was not really in the picture that much, or you had drinking problems, um, and you were in a hospital, kind of isolated in a good amount of your childhood, but you've obviously had a very amazing, you know, life, uh, beyond amazing from what the videos I've watched. So I just thought maybe you could go into a little bit of your childhood and how maybe you're differ from this theory, because I have to write about the limitations
Okay,
and the
let's
universality of it.
let's blow this apart because the attachment theory, in theory, it's a good theory, and that's what's happening in the real creative world of man and the mind and society. What we got going now, but if you don't have a parental attachment, but you have an attachment to the divine, uh, it serves even a greater, it's a greater anchor for your life. And so, as you point out, and people read my book or watch my videos, you know that I come from a very dysfunctional family. And I mean, people read my book and they cry. They go, "Oh, poor Reverend Bill," and all this, and I go, "What?" And then I have to go back and go, "Oh, I guess those were bad things." I never, I never took anything to the level where I hated anybody, I blamed anybody. Even at a young age, I felt responsible for everything that happened to me. It was okay. That's what's supposed to happen. It's all part of who I'm going to be. And when things were ugly or nasty or whatever, I'd say, well, that's a good lesson. Now I know that's definitely not what I want to do. I want to be a great father. I want to be a good husband. I want to be uh, giving, loving, serving. So I would take the negative things that happened and realize that was a lesson too. But people get wounded in childhood and then they attach those negative memories to everything that goes forward. And so as they grow physically, emotionally, spiritually, they try to move forward. There's that memory that keeps anchored back in the past. And so that child never grows up. Now, to me, I had a kind of a unique situation where I was from a year of 8 years old, well past my ninth birthday in the hospital, a year in the hospital. I was a ward of the county, and most of the time in isolation, or I'd have a 15-minute visit on Friday from my stepdad, my mom. I mean, at that point, I didn't even care. I was, they wake you up at 6 o'clock in the morning because the shift change. You got nothing to do. You can't get out of bed. You got no, had no, this is hard to believe for younger generation. No television, no phone, no computer, no toys, no magazines, no newspapers, no school for just a few weeks of that time. Somebody decided, after I've been in there months and months, this guy hasn't been to school in a long time. So they had a teacher come by once or twice a week for an hour, and I just devour whatever she gave me. But pretty much I was on my own. Now, that could either make or break you. You're either going to go really bad, because it could, or I viewed it as, I got all this time together with myself. Let's explore inside me. Let's meditate. Let's daydream. Let's dream. Let's create things. Let's go to this world. And so I went from 6 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night till they turned the lights off, and only interrupted when they brought you by a meal and give you a shot. Pretty much that was a routine. But instead of coming out bitter, angry, I came away saying, what a gift. And I look at it now and I go, what a gift. As a child of 8 or 9 years old, I was like in my own ashram, my own monastery, my own Himalayan cave. I had all this time to be me, to discover me, to be me. And of course, I had a near-death experience during that time too, which affected my life and gave me great insights. But my whole life has been built on being responsible for whatever happens. If you're angry and you come to me, blah, 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 if something happened in your life and stuff, I had nothing to do with it, blame-wise. But if you came to me, you're now in my world. You're in my world, right? So there's a part of me that's responsible for doing something. And I'm sorry that you're upset, and I'm sorry that I wasn't there for you, whatever, I love you, I forgive you, I forgive me, this whole thing is about you ultimately. So when people go out in the world, when I was much younger, I'd go out and try to save and change people and heal people. And then I finally realized that, there's enough changing and healing yourself. If you heal yourself, if you change you, it changes the world that you perceive and how people react with you. And the best teacher is example. So I try to be that for my children. I try to be that for my friends. I try to be that for everybody. So if the guy you're meeting right now, if you met me in person and hung around with me for a month, you'll realize, well, he's the same guy that he says he is. I don't play any games. My flaws are there. I am who I am. I own who I am, but I never, ever blame anybody. It's like I deal with Vietnam vets and other vets now. Oh, the war did this to me, and I'm saying, take responsibility. First off, every choice you made after that, whether to drink alcohol, beat up somebody, get angry, quit your job, do all these anger things, or depression and all that. That's all a series of choices. Someplace along the line, you have to look at what happened in Vietnam, for example. That's how I work with those guys. You've got to look at Vietnam as just a memory. Now, in the Bible, it says, love thy enemies. To me, that memory is an enemy. Love it. Embrace it. It made you who you are today is somebody that's waking up from that experience and able to move on and have compassion. So I'm trying to take people through that process. Like I'm giving a workshop coming up on the East Coast in September. Somebody's voluntarily gifted me this weekend at a retreat to use. So I'm giving a free retreat for veterans and others, which is a beautiful thing to be doing. So I'm trying to take people and teach them be responsible. Now, the class you're taking in college is about, you got to have good parental. Nobody has a good parental unit to start off with. I mean, it's dysfunctional families are the norm. The norm. I don't care if you're coming out of the Kennedy family, the Bush family, Fonda family, your next door neighbors. It doesn't matter who you are, how much money you got. All families have some degree of craziness and dysfunction. All of them. There's no perfect parent. There's no school you go to. There's no college class you take. Parents, parentalhood, being a father 101. There ain't no such thing. It's everybody just thrown into it. So the child, meaning the inner child, no matter what age you are, the child has to first off forgive their parents. Stop blaming them. Love yourself. Love yourself. And realize that everything was given to you in your life for a reason. Now, all that stuff that happened to me growing up taught me great compassion, more than I'd ever have. That's a school that I would have paid to go to because I learned so much about others and what it felt like to be hugged and appreciated because I didn't have those things, So instead of being moaning that fact and drinking and doing drugs, oh, terrible, I go, well, I didn't have it, but I can give it. I can gain it myself. I can hug me. God hugs me, right? But I want to spread that to others. So I've met all kinds of people in all kinds of circumstances in their lives. People facing suicide. I mean, they think that's a choice. That's another whole subject. But I was counseling a guy 96 years old, World War II vet, and he's going on and on about his parents. Something they did to him, didn't do his birthday or something when he was 15 and embarrassed him. And I'm going, and he was going on. There was a hate, there was an anger. When he brought it up, you think it happened an hour ago. Mm-hmm. And I'm going, your parents have been dead 50 years and you're still angry at them? Let it go. So my philosophy is everything happens to you for a reason. Everything comes into your life. You didn't necessarily can be blamed for it. I mean, it'd be hard to show that you created it, but it's coming into your life for a reason. Be responsible for it. You're in my life today. And so I'm looking, I said, well, he's asking this question. Give. There's a part out there. Teach him because he's going through college, and college is teaching a thing that nobody else said you're going to talk to will argue with what they're saying, except for me.
Right.
Because I'm saying all that's a cop-out because all that is a blame game. You got to blame, and if you didn't get attached, you're going to. No, it doesn't make any difference if you messed up all your life. If you wake up this morning and Reverend Bill says, I could start for zero. Start at zero today. Kill those memories. If the memory doesn't serve you with love and joy and purpose and peace, what good is that memory? Because you should remember those beautiful things. You take a nice hike on the beach, or you go camping, and you love somebody. But there's memories out there that serve no purpose but to beat you up. And when you recycle those stories over and over and over again, it's like reliving them. I counsel veterans, and I have a rule. Tell me what's bothering you, what happened one time. Now it's on the table. Now I've heard you. Don't tell it to me again. It serves no purpose. You just keep bringing it up, keep bringing it up. And when I try to work with somebody and you give them what you think is good advice, and already the bells goes off. However, but you don't understand. That's all. They don't want to hear it. They throw it out. So I don't allow that. So when I'm counseling people, don't give me a but. I don't understand. You know, you have to start at zero base, meaning everything is about love. It's not about parental love. That it's not about love with a spouse or a girlfriend or boyfriend. It's about divine love. That won't fail you. Everything else has limitations. Every parent's failed their child someplace. Spouses don't always get along. I mean, friendships, all these things. But there's one. That's the divine. So if you make friendship, literally friendship and divine romance, that relationship, then you're anchored in what I call the real attachment, divine attachment, because you're admitting that the whole universe out there is you. Wait a minute, what did you say? You just said the whole universe? Yes, there's only one. Everything out there is within you. So that's if you keep looking outside for love, appreciation, it's all within you. It's like looking for God out there. No, God's within. So to blame something out there, no, it's all in here. Own it. You know, if you make a mistake, you're human. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. I'm sorry I did that. I'm sorry. I love you, meaning you love yourself, you love God, you love the universe. I love you. I don't know how many times a day I say I love you mentally. I love you. I love you. It's a nice mantra, you know. But in truth, people will come into your life and they will upset you. For example, I was driving yesterday and I was pulling out of a Walmart parking lot. It was an uphill driveway going onto the street, and there's a car in front of me, and I intuitively saw that car backing into me, even though it's a light. You should be backing up. So I backed up an extra half space, and then I had my hand on the horn because it just, and then boom, the guy starts rolling back to me, and I'm honking and honking and honking, and boom, in the front of my truck. But I knew it was going to happen, right? So I get out, and this part of me first goes, and then I go, you know what? The universe just told me this was going to happen. Let it go. Guy gets out, and he's Indian, old Indian guy. He's got a, I'm 75, and he looked 10 years older than me. He looked, of course, who knows? He could have been older, younger. But he comes out and he kind of feebly looks at me. He goes, "Oh, there's no damage. There's no damage." I said, "Okay, namaste. Enjoy the day." So he was kind of like, he got back into his vehicle. But the point was, I had a choice. I could have yelled at this old guy. Would it have made my day any better? Would it have made my truck any better? Would it have accomplished anything? And so it's a series of choices every moment of your life. Somebody cuts you off in traffic. Your spouse or somebody you love is mean and nasty to you, you know, jumps on you for something you did or didn't do. You know, there's always a reason. Every single day, turn on the news, you got a reason to be mad. Oh my God, look what they're doing in Arizona. Look what's happening here. What's going on there? It's like, I go, you got to love everybody. And I got friends out there on both sides of the political spectrum. And I tell them, look, stop hating each other. Because obviously, you each believe what you believe. You're not going to change each other's mind. Just learn to love. You know, people will evolve. It's not just because I believe something doesn't make it that's the truth of the world. I get scared when people tell me this is the truth.
Mhm.
Because I'm going to tell you right now that what I believed 10 years ago, 20 years ago has evolved. What I believe yesterday, some things may have changed and evolved. And if you're not willing to evolve, a spiritual evolution, let's call it, if you're not willing to evolve, then you're going to create a real negative aspect of your life. You're going to draw negative energy to you. You have to be able to change. You can't just my way or the highway. That's what's caused wars. That's what's caused this political stuff going on right now. I am not a pessimist with all that stuff. Everybody's going, oh, I'm going, you know what? America will survive. The world will survive. And in the process of all these disgruntled things going on and crazy stuff like in Russia and the Ukraine and what's happening in the UK and everywhere else, it's worldwide. Out of that chaos, I'm finding that there's a beautiful positive energy that's fermenting, ready to grow. It's like bullshit. It's good fertilizer for the vegetables, right? Sorry. You throw the manure out there and you get great vegetables, right? We are fertilizing the world right now spiritually. And right now it feels like, oh, this is terrible. And I'm saying, no, we're going to grow together. And when you stop separating yourself from your fellow person, or Democrats, Republicans, the communists, the social, I mean, if you're labeling people instead of just people, your brothers and sisters. So when you're labeling, you're creating divisions, separation, and they're outside of you. When you stop labeling others and just see everybody as the one family, it's mankind. We're all one. So when you reach that, conflict seems to disappear. So you can wear a red shirt today, a blue shirt today, doesn't make any difference. That makes you happy, great. If you're not hurting anybody, okay, even better. But you can't change other people through arguments, debates, wars, lectures. You might be able to inspire people, supposed to inspire people and influence, but you really, only way you can change people is to become the example, is to make you a better person. And so from that foundation, from that mountain, others will see you, sense you, and you don't have to tell anybody. That's like, oh, I do get a little irritated, not much, but I hear some of my fellow people that I hang around with. Well, I'm praying for this healing this person. I'm forgiving them, and they go up to the person. I'm praying for you, and I'm for to change you. I forgive you, and the guy goes, "Who in the hell do you think you are to forgive me? What is this? So what makes you right? So when you're telling people out loud, I forgive you, it's almost like you're cussing at them. It's almost like I'm better than you, and I forgive you, and isn't that magnanimous of me? I forgive you.
Right.
You forgive people in here. You don't tell people that unless they're in a 12-step program, for example, and they're trying to make amends and they come to you and say, hey, forgive me, I did these things. Well, that happens to me all the time. People come to me. And first off, I tell them, yes, of course, but I was never angry with you and you never offended me because I didn't ever take it personally. But they got to hear, I forgive you. Yes, I forgive you. So I hope in a way that kind of sets up your argument. And I'll tell you what, if your professors want, I'll talk to your class. But I really think that they're being short-sighted. They're in a box that they could fit 99% of the people in. But that's why the world is having problems, because nobody's realizing that outside of this box, there's an alternate reality. It's called love. And when you focus on your Heavenly Father, your Divine Mother, your brothers and sisters, your fellow travelers in this world, it's all one, then that's the only attachment that's going to make it all work. That's the only one that's real. Everything else is not real. So I hope that answered your question. I'm here for more if you want, but I hope that answers your question.
Oh, yeah, that definitely answered my question and more. I just want to thank you, meeting with me today. And it seems like that time period that you had alone for that introspection, I think a lot of people like you said, are always, looking out, blaming, um, separating themselves by their caste or their creed or their, religion, politics. Um, and I think you're just a really good example of how to use introspection to unite and become one with a larger source. And as soon as I started writing my paper, I just thought, and I had to critique this theory of attachment. I thought of you and your life, and I just really appreciate you meeting with me today.
Well,
And
I hope that your professors are as enamored as you are. You'll have it yourself. But if you wish, I'll post this on YouTube, and then you can just give them the link and say, hey, here's my argument. And if they want me to come, I'll present. I have nothing to win. I'm trying not to win. That's the whole thing. It's not about winning anything. It's not about being right. It's just telling people, be yourself. It's all about love. Nobody's to blame. It's all about choices. And ultimately, the only reality is we're one with the divine. And as soon as we figure that out and realize that and awaken to that truth, suffering is gone. Say suffering is a choice. Pain is inevitable. As a child, painful things happen. I mean, a lot of painful stuff happened. That's pain. But I never chose to suffer. I never got angry at my stepfather. I never got angry at my mother. I felt much love for them, and I felt they were selling themselves short on what they could be and what they could become. So there was a part of me that was, well, you could be so much more. But they didn't rise to that. But I cheer them on, and we each have our own path in life. So bless you, my friend.
thank you so much, Bill.
Louis, God bless.